Hey there, folks. It's Rod with Power Group. Welcome back on The Pursuit of Wealth, your home for MJ stocks, crypto assets, interviews, and apparently correcting false information and misinformation. So, on this channel, we want nothing but the truth. We look for the truth. We seek the truth. We try to tell the truth in every aspect, even if we're wrong, right? So, if I'm wrong, I'll be the first to admit I'm not right about everything. I've been wrong many times. I failed many times, but that's how we get better as individuals. That's how we learn, is by failing forward more than most often than not, right? And as Michael Jordan said, you miss all the shots you don't take, but he missed probably more shots than anybody. So before we get started, I want to remain respectful. I know we have a lot of people on the stream here at the moment, so thank you very much for joining the live stream. First and foremost, I do want to just let everybody know that again, I appreciate all the support I've gotten from you, and let's try to remain respectful. I know it's always hard to do that in some ways when someone's saying false information, or they're not being intellectually honest, or they don't have all of the information. But by popular request, I received a ton of messages today, and essentially what happened was, just a long story short, people were messaging me saying, have you seen Daniel Pronk's new video? He's bashing Hexo again. And in this video, we're going to be talking about that YouTuber, Daniel Pronk, who has revived the FUD, the fear, uncertainty, and doubt regarding Hexo, and basically stirring up rumors that they could potentially go bankrupt again. So I'm going to put this to bed once and for all. And hopefully, we can be friends, Daniel and I have no issues with Daniel. But it is getting a little ridiculous at this point. So I'll be the one to come on and speak the truth, because that's all that I want. That's all that I want, is to come on here and tell you guys, with a genuine, honest approach. And at the end of the day, that's all we want to do, is seek the truth, right? Even if we're wrong, we can admit that we were wrong. Okay, you presented facts that I did not know. Thank you for the facts. I was wrong. Move on, right? So I've presented facts, but yet the information wasn't absorbed. So we're going to go through this a little bit. But like I said, a lot of people were asking me to do a video on this. So I wanted to come on. We'll get into the chat here in a moment. I do want to play the video as well that Daniel shared. It was yesterday. And I'm just going to mute the background music here as well. And let me know, everybody, if you can hear everything okay. But essentially, he made a video of 3 companies that he thinks, stocks that are going to go bankrupt over the next 1 to 2 years. But again, thank you so much, everybody, for coming on. I appreciate your time. I appreciate your support and contributions to the live stream. Hope you're having a fantastic day. And like I said, going to remain super respectful. And just before we get started, once again, I'm not trying to attack anybody. I'm not saying that, I know everything and that, only my opinion matters. I want everybody's opinion. So I'd love if everybody I can see there's already quite a few comments, but I would love it if everybody could chime in and give your opinion. Let me know if you agree with me, if you agree with Daniel, if you agree with what I've been saying, what I point out in this video. Let me know. But again, let's keep it professional. Let's keep it mature, and let's be respectful. Daniel has a following of over 200,000 subscribers on YouTube, and he's very, very intelligent, right? He knows what he's talking about. He knows financial statements, income sheets, and things like that, balance sheets, income statements, things like that, which I'll be the first to admit that's not my strong suit, right? I'm more of the technicals, more of the fundamentalist. I like to consider myself like a market maker. I have that mentality where I act like a market maker, right? Like act like a whale, not like a fish. And again, I'm not really too focused on the fundamentals and the financial things. I know that is important, so I try to incorporate that into my analysis as well. But I'm definitely more on the technical side. I'm a technical analyst by trade, and that's just the way my brain operates. And like I said many times before, there's usually more than one way to get to 4. You can do 2 plus 2, 3 plus 1, 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1, right? So there's no right or wrong way. There's only your way. And again, let's just remain respectful. Let's not try to hurt anybody's feelings. And once again, I know that Daniel has grown a massive following, and rightly so. He does some good work, and like I said, he definitely knows what he's talking about with regards to some certain things, specifically with regards to numbers and whatnot. And I'll just be the first to say that I'm going to call out anybody who spits information out that isn't true, right? And that's not me attacking somebody. That's not me belittling them. That's not me thinking I'm better than anybody else. It's just when you invest hours and hours of research and you do videos day after day after day after day explaining this stuff, I mean, realistically, all it would take was a quick 5-minute Google search, not even, and he would have had all the information that he had that I'm about to provide. And not only that, we had an incident where something like this happened before, and I corrected it, and Daniel came on my comment section, and it went a little awry. So again, we'll go into it, but in the video, he doesn't mention the Tilray deal. I am going to play the video here real quick, just so that everybody can be on the same page. I do have it sped up on 1.5x speed, just for the sake of time. But let's go through it here real quick.
And with that being said, let's now hop into the video and all of the stocks that we think are going to be going bankrupt over the next year. So the first one right here is Hexo Corp. This is a smaller cap company, and it currently has a market cap of about $117.7 million. Now, also, if we take a look at the stock's historical stock price, in 2019, this was a $33 stock, okay? Now the stock is trading for about 17 cents, which means that the stock is down over 99%. It's down about 99.4%. If we zoom into about 2021 and just take a look at over the past year, this stock is also down about 98.3% over the past year. And honestly, I would not be surprised if this stock does end up going bankrupt over the next 2 years. If we head over to our stock unlock insights right here, we can see that Hexo has a profitability score of only 1.3 out of 5, which is almost as bad as it can possibly get. The company's gross margin is negative 35%, so it's not even generating a profit by delivering its products and services. So it cannot even produce its products and services at a profit before even subtracting operating expenses. So this company is losing money on all fronts. It's not even close to becoming profitable. We can also see that the operating margin is sitting at negative 120%. The net margin is almost negative 500%. Free cash flow margin is negative 76%. And it's free cash flow negative, obviously. And it's lost $180 million just in the past year. And you got to think about this. This company is worth $117 million today. And over the past year, it's lost $180 million. So it's lost more than its entire market cap in free cash flow just in the past year. That is absolutely awful. Now, if we scroll down to our financial health, it's also got a score of 1.8 out of 5. So on top of this business not being profitable at all, it's also got really bad financial health. It's got a cash runway of less than 1 month. So basically at this company's current burn rate, it's going to...
I'm just going to pause it there. So already a bunch of information that's just false, very, very incorrect. And also let me know if this sounds okay, folks. It's my first time doing it on this platform, on this streaming software. But also saying that they're not going to see cash flow positive. I'll try to be as respectful as possible, but literally right here, new debt financing arrangement will accelerate Hexo's transformation into a cash flow positive business within the next 4 quarters. So he's saying that it's essentially not going to happen anytime soon. And also one month of cash left to burn through it. It didn't make any sense. So we know that with the Tilray deal closing, they've got 102 million, which is unrestricted, as part of the Tilray the debt refinancing and all that stuff. But they also have the 180 million backstop with Chaos Capital. So again, I'm just not sure. I'll give my thoughts here at the end. Let's just keep going.
To run out of money in less than a month. Current ratio is also below 1, and the company has increased its share count by 254% over the past year. So since this business is losing so much money, it's unprofitable. What it has to do is dilute its shareholders massively just to raise money and stay in business. And over the past year, it's diluted its shareholders by 253%. So that is just ridiculous. That is destroying shareholder value so much. And I do not think that a company can continue diluting their shareholders like this without it going under eventually. Like eventually the market is going to be like, you know what, we're not giving this business any more money. We're not going to buy the shares that you are diluting. And when that happens, then Hexo will finally not be able to raise any more money. And that is really when the business, in my opinion, will go under. Now, if we also head over to the financials right here, I want to show you just how dramatic some of these figures are, okay? Right here in 2015, Hexo had about 7.3 million shares outstanding, all right? And in the most recent quarter, they now have 433 million shares outstanding. So over the past year, 433 million shares today divided by 7 in 2015 means that they have increased their share count by about 62x over just the past 7 years. That is an absolutely insane amount of dilution. This is the most dilution I have ever seen a stock do, to be totally honest. Now, it's also interesting.
Real quick as well. So he's not wrong, right? Obviously, I'm not trying to say that Hexo has no problems, right? A lot of MJ right now has problems, but Hexo isn't the only one that has, diluted a ton, right? We know Canopy, Tilray, Aurora. Some would say that Tilray and Canopy actually diluted even more, right? And I don't have the exact numbers right on hand, but I'm pretty sure Canopy has diluted even more. I'm pretty sure Hexo has been better stewards of capital than some of their peers. But We'll just keep going here. I probably won't play the whole thing. Definitely not going to play the whole video, but there might be a couple more points here that I want you to hear. So let's keep going.
Is we've already learned that this company produces negative operating cash flow, right? I mean, their operations in the trailing 12 months lost 127 million. So just the operations of this business lost about 127 million dollars, over 100 million dollars. Then my question becomes, okay, if this business is losing money, like this business is losing hundreds of millions of dollars, then where is the money coming from? How is it staying in business? Like, how is it still affording to pay its bills and pay its employees? Well, if we take a look right here, it's because of the net common stock issued, which also makes sense because the share count is increasing so dramatically. So this company is diluting shareholders to raise money. And right here, we can see that in 2021, in the third quarter of 2021, the company raised $175 million from dilution. Then the next quarter was about 24 million. Then the next quarter, about 4 million. In the trailing 12 months, this company has diluted $250 million worth, which is more than double the company's market cap, which is also what we saw in the insights tab. So this quite literally is where the company's money is coming from, is from diluting their shareholders massively. Now, what's also interesting is if we head over to the balance sheet and we take a look at the company's total cash position, we can see that the cash position spikes. And this is from dilution because think about it, the company is not making any money internally, right? So the business isn't generating money organically or internally. So for the money to increase, it has to come from somewhere from the outside, either through debt or through dilution. So whenever we see these spikes in the cash position right here, this is the company diluting. And then we can see that once the company dilutes, it raises the money, then the money slowly dwindles away. And then they do dilution to get more money, and then it slowly dwindles away again. And right now we can see that the company is sitting on about $14.2 million of cash as per their last reporting. This ultimately means that the company is probably going to run out of money here within like the next quarter or so. Because think about this, they got $14 million of cash and they're burning about $170 million a year.
Okay, so that being an influencer, being a YouTuber, you got to be very, very careful what you say, right? And what he just said, I'm probably just going to end the video there because I don't want this video to go too long, but you guys can just go check it out. Just search 3 popular stocks that will go bankrupt within the next year. Daniel Pronk should come up. Actually, here, I'll just place it in the live stream here. So you got to be very, very careful with what you're saying on the internet, because this is people's money that we're talking about here. And it's not just Hexo that's down 99%. He says that it's down 99% from its all-time high. So is Tilray. So is T-God. So is Aurora. I could look at Trulieve. He said he's invested in Trulieve and Green Thumb, and those stocks are down like 80% from February 2021. And they're profitable, right? Those are the poster childs, but they're not even focusing on the rest of the United States, right? They haven't even gone into the rest of the US, right? So that's huge capital expenditures. Anyway, I'm going off on a tangent there, but you got to be very, very careful. And Daniel, if you're listening, you have to get your facts straight, because what you say, you've got 200,000 followers, 200,000 subscribers on YouTube. People are going to listen to you, and some may not do their own research. I know we say do your own research all the time on this channel. It's not financial advice. This is my opinion and for entertainment purposes only. But you got to be very, very careful with what you say, because Hexo does not have 1 quarter left. The financial information that you're looking at is outdated. If you looked at the actual deal here with Tilray, they have a standby agreement with Chaos Capital of 180 million. And then as part of that debt restructuring, they're getting 102 million of which is unrestricted. So that's $282 million that he fails to mention. And again, I've mentioned this to him, and he just chooses. So originally I gave him the benefit of the doubt. And if you're listening again, Daniel, I gave you the benefit of the doubt. It's fine if you don't know, right? We can all admit that we were wrong. We didn't know, what have you. But now the cat's out of the bag, right? We gave you the benefit of the doubt, right? You can't plead the fifth anymore. You were already told that Tilray, because in his original video, I'll go back here real quick. In his original video, this one here. So a YouTuber, this is the one I did. So YouTuber with 200,000 subscribers bashes Hexo stock without all the facts. So in this video, he says that he owns Trulieve and Green Thumb. And then later on in the video, he says that Hexo is probably going to get bought up by Trulieve or Green Thumb. And it's almost like facepalm, because how did you not see this? You know, it's like, I don't know, Daniel, what I'm like kind of lost for words. I really don't understand somebody with such a huge following and audience, how you didn't know that Tilray was a debt holder for the convertible notes and has the highest chance and probability of acquiring Hexo. But again, because he's talking his book, there's a term called talking your book, right? You're talking up the stocks that you own. And I think that's what was going on. He was talking up the stocks that he owned, and I called him out. And then if you go down to the comments, you guys can read it yourself. I was very respectful. I paid tribute to his, I said that he was very knowledgeable. He deserves his following. And he decided to take it down a route that went pretty dark. And he said, I would consider I would consider going on and having a conversation if you showed me more respect and didn't backhand insult me in all your comments. I'm not an idiot, bro. Don't treat me like one. He's saying you're looking for favors from other channels. Well, no, I wasn't. I'm not about getting clicks or using clickbait or telling people what they want to hear, or I tell them what they need to hear. And I'm a truth seeker. I want to find the truth. That's all I'm after. Right. And then Matt says, no one called you an idiot. You were showing immaturity with this response. Truly was one of my favorite MSOs. So exactly. Nobody called him an idiot. I didn't call him an idiot. In fact, I started off by saying, first off, I will start by saying I respect Daniel and his channel. He obviously earned the 200K subs, and I will correct anyone who doesn't present all the facts. So I was very, very, again, I would have to agree with Matt's comment there. But I did a video 9 months ago. It's got 2.3K views. Is Hexo Corp going bankrupt? Some options to consider before bankruptcy, in my perspective. And in that video, I laid out like 8 bullet points that Hexo would have optionalities before using the B word. But everybody just wanted to throw around bankruptcy because their investments are down and people are hating on the stock. They were burned, right? Did Hexo go bankrupt? No. And Tilray ended up investing $170 million-ish into Hexo, which wasn't, I said, basically an outside investor could come in, and that's what happened. I didn't know it was going to be a competitor and another Canadian LP, but that just goes to show you there was tons of options. But here we go. We've got this video where he's doubling down on Hexo bankruptcy going under and Hexo going bankrupt. And I'm just, it's getting a little, it's kind of a joke at this point. I'm trying to stay calm here because the more I think about it, try not to think about it too much today because I've got other things to do and a community of as well that I have to tend to. But in that video, and something I didn't even mention as well is they have the trust partnership with Molson Coors. Would Molson Coors partner with a company that was terrible and going bankrupt? And why would Tilray invest $170 million? And they said Hexo was the best long-term partner in Canada that they could have picked, right? So why would Tilray do that if Hexo was going bankrupt, right? And in this video, I told you 9 months ago that Hexo wasn't going bankrupt. In my opinion, there's no guarantees. The only guarantee is there's no guarantees. But in that video, I gave you all the reasons, all these lists of reasons why they wouldn't be going bankrupt. And lo and behold, everybody kept saying bankrupt. Hexo's going bankrupt. Now they entered this deal with Tilray. And now they're complaining about something else. But the bankruptcy word just kind of left. And that was a thing of the past. And it turned out that my video was correct. There was a lot of options before Hexo was going, quote unquote, going under, belly up. And something that they just released this new product with Trust, these new cantinis, these new mocktails. And again, they're partnered with Molson Coors. They're in talks, like Tilray has said, they're in talks with multiple leading CPG players. They're going to have a partner in edibles. They have a partner in beverages, Molson Coors and Trust. They're going to have a partner in edibles. I think it's going to be Kellogg's, but we'll see. Apparently that's been put on hold. I know there's some speculation and some confusion and some all mixed emotions with that, but it is what it is, right? We just have to be patient. Then there's probably going to be one for cosmetics, right? That we know that they've got 48 North because it's going to be topicals. And they said that's purely a CPG play, that they're going to be looking to do a CPG topical play. Then they even said they were looking at pet food CPG partners. So there's going to be multiple CPG partners. And Tilray even said that themselves. So just going through my notes here, he didn't even mention, I can't believe it. I think I listened to the video 3 times. Not one mention of the Tilray deal with Hexo. And this video was posted yesterday, October 18th, 2022. And I'm like, it must be one large rock that you're living under, Daniel, because how do you not know that Hexo isn't in an arrangement, in a strategic alliance and a partnership with Tilray. You didn't mention it at all once in that video. Not to mention the backstop of 180 million from Adam Arviv and Chaos Capital. So 102 million become unrestricted as part of the debt refinancing with Tilray, and 180 is there as a backstop with Chaos Capital. So that's 200. He mentioned 14 million, which is outdated, right? And said only like 1/4, essentially left. I think that's what he said. And anyway, I'm moving on, but again, the facts weren't all there. And I even commented on this video, and Nunes Knees says, how will Hexo go bankrupt when Tilray is backing them? If anything, they will just merge and be bought out by Tilray. And he said, I guess it depends on how you look at it. We agree events like that are probable, but in our minds, it's happening because of an impending bankruptcy, and they're basically getting bailed out by someone else in some sense, bailed out in some sense, sorry. And then I responded, and I was respectful, and I said, Tilray and Hexo are partnered. They have like 282 million in cash now. The backstop from Chaos Capital. We also know that Germany set out their draft today. I did a video on that. Germany releases draft for MJ legalization, and Tilray and Hexo are working together, and Hexo's sourcing products. Go check this out. Commercial agreement. Hexo will source MJ products for international markets, excluding Canada and the US, exclusively from Tilray brands. So that means that Tilray has 20% market share in Germany right now, and there's no imports allowed. So you have to have facilities in Germany in order to sell products in Germany, and Hexo and Tilray are going to be working together to tackle that market, right? So they've already got a 20% market share, right? But anyway, he went on to delete my comment when all I said was facts. I was just spitting facts. And I said, why would Tilray pick Hexo and invest 170 million into Hexo? And Daniel, if you're listening, this comment that you made right here, I bet you a lot of people said that about Apple computers when they weren't making any money and they were going to bankruptcy in a new emerging market. But the thing is they weren't selling illegal drugs, right? That are still Schedule 1 in the United States. They were selling computers that were not Schedule 1, okay? So there's also Canadian restrictions and laws and regulations, no advertising, things like that. Like, you got to think, this is not comparing apples to apples, no pun intended, right? But how many people, how many analysts, how many financial gurus said that Apple was going to go under and that, the company wasn't making any money, they were worthless. But then Bill Gates and Microsoft came along in 1997 and they said, oh, no problem. We'll throw Apple a lifeline. We'll throw them a lifeline. Here's 150 million, right? And then the two went on to become the number one and number two. And guess who's worth more today? Apple. So I bet you a lot of people said the same thing back then, right? Right. Like, it's just, it's so clear to me. And I guarantee you, Bill Gates and Microsoft are quite happy with their investment into Microsoft, into Apple, when Microsoft saved Apple from bankruptcy in 1997. The two companies profited greatly. And how many people thought they were probably going to merge as a result? Oh, Microsoft's for sure going to come in and buy out Apple, right? Eventually, they're just... So I think the same thing is happening right now. We got number one and number two. They're going to be top 5 globally in the whole MJ space. And I do think that Hexo could actually end up being worth more in the long term than Tilray. I think Hexo could be the Apple, and I think Tilray could be the Microsoft. Let me know in the comments if you agree with me or not. Again, we can all disagree, agree. We don't have to, to do that to be friends. But I had a lot of respect for you, Daniel. But after deleting my comment and the comments you left on my original video, which somebody pointed out were very immature, which I would have to agree with. Just because someone challenges your idea or corrects you or says that you're wrong and puts facts, I'm not giving opinions, I'm putting facts in front of you, and you're choosing not to listen to them. And you're deleting my comments for no reason. I was respectful, and I was just hitting you with facts. But that's why I'm starting to think that this isn't about the truth. This is about, and let's get real here. it's one thing to not know, right? We give you people the benefit of the doubt. But when you hit them with the facts and they still choose not to mention it, you're downright lying. You're scamming people. You're lying to people. You're crafting this information in a way that you want people to absorb it. You're not giving people the factual information, all of the information, so that we can make our own educate. You're saying it's not financial advice. So again, trying to keep everything even keel here, but you need to present all the facts. And if you're not, again, do it the first time, that's fine. I'll correct anybody. I have nothing against Daniel. I have nothing against anybody in this world. I love everybody. I love all of you. But if you say something that is incorrect, I'm going to challenge that. And I'm going to say, I think that is incorrect because this, right? Insert line and reason why. I don't just say that's incorrect. You're an idiot. The end. I say that is incorrect, my friend, or that is incorrect, my fellow YouTuber. This is why. And then I hit them with the source, the fact, and the source, not just the fact, the actual source, the link to the press release, Tilray or Hexo, both saying the same thing, right? So again, the first time he could plead the fifth, he could say, you know what, I didn't know. But now you made another video, a second video bashing Hexo without all the facts. You didn't even mention the Tilray deal. So at this point, you're either choosing, how do I say this? It's either intellectual dishonesty, it's either downright lying, or ignorance. Like, what else could it be, folks? Again, let's try to remain respectful and courteous and all that good stuff. But at this point, the facts are not in dispute, right? They're not. It's just not. And I've given him the facts. I've commented. He's deleted my comments. And he's doing a disservice to his community. There's 204,000 people subscribed to his channel listening to this nonsense. Like, that just makes my blood boil, right? And then when you simply reach out to try to get to a common ground and an understanding that, okay, what you said might not be true. But again, now that it's the second video and he still failed to mention all of that, I have to say it. I think he's lying. I think he's like, anybody could just go on YouTube or, on my YouTube channel, and you'd have a million different videos, right, of Hexo. But just a simple Google search, like Hexo Corp debt update, like Tilray to buy rivals Hexo's debt. Like, how long did that take me? Right? Like, you're doing a disservice to your whole following. And we're just going to have a moment of silence here to let this sink in. Like, what in the actual, you know what? I just don't get it. Like, a monkey. Oh, I shouldn't say that. But literally, anybody with half a brain could go to Google and do what I just did. Hexo Corp debt update. Like, and there you go. It's right there. Like, frustrating. Also, Hexo and Redecan acquisition, $925 million. Where was Hexo supposed to get that money? They had to take on debt. That's when all this stuff started to spiral, right? They knew exactly what was going on. I think it was a poison pill, personally, to avoid a hostile takeover, and they still did it. And Tilray even offered to buy them for $3 a share back in November of last year, almost a year ago. And Hexo turned them down. So now they got Redecan, which is paid for $925 million. I think Tilray offered them $1.4 billion. We know they had a competing offer for $1.4 billion. I don't know for sure. I think it was Tilray. But not only that, they closed the Belleville facility. They've been laying off. They closed a bunch of. They filed for creditor protection for Zenabis because now they'll keep all the patents and the strains and the brands from Zenabis, but they'll get rid of all those facilities because they no longer need them because they're partnered with Tilray. They had EU GMP certification in Malta from Zenabis. They don't need that anymore because they're sourcing all MJ products from Tilray, aside from US and Canada. Also, as a result of all the, I think they laid off half their staff, like 720 employees. So all of those cost savings, the facilities, and they now have the Redecan facilities. So now they're leveraging Redecans, right? They didn't know that when they were buying Zenabis. So they liquidated Zenabis's assets. Stalking horse bid to SNDL, or it's going to go to auction. I haven't seen an update on that. But all of those cost savings from the facilities, all the layoffs from the employees and the staff, that's going to be a huge, huge improvement to COGS, cost of goods sold, and sales general and administration, SG&A, which we haven't seen yet. We should start to see that over the next couple of quarters. And Charlie also said that all sales are now profitable. And Molson Coors JV, the joint venture trusts with Molson Coors, they could sell that at any time. They have 42.5% ownership, right? Molson Coors owns the majority of that, which Trust just got its license. And in 2023, it's going to operationalize it. After that, since Hexo is reporting it on their financials right now because they have the license, even though Molson Coors owns majority, it has to go on Hexo's quarterly financials and yearly financials because they have the license. After Trust operationalizes the license in 2023, it'll go on TAP financials. Hexo will report on an equity basis. But again, all of this information wasn't stated. I said in here, the amount of options Hexo had before going bankrupt, before creating videos, just saying that they're going to go bankrupt in the next 1 to 2 years or maybe a quarter from now, right? Like a little research goes a long way. I even did a video, right? And another thing that I didn't mention in that video is they could sell that portion of Trust that they have through the partnership with Molson Coors. How much would that be worth? Probably a crap ton, right? So that would be another way they could get cash. They could sell Redecan. They could sell brands. They could sell pretty much anything, right? And another thing is Hexo and Tilray, everybody can't understand why their financials are so bad and why they're diluting so much and yada, yada, yada. They're building for world domination. They're number 1 and number 2 in Canada, 20% market share in Germany, the highest. They have operations all in the United States. And the foundation is not only built, it's ready and it's being built. It's being built out. It's not being built or planned. It's literally built and they're building it out now even more, right? Hexo's selling products through Trust CBD USA in 26 different states right now. So these MSOs like Trulieve, they've only got Florida covered. And then they acquired, there's different MSOs that are acquiring companies because there's some states that aren't allowing any more licenses to be issued. So the only way to get into those markets is to buy another company in mergers and acquisitions. Or in the states where you can get licenses, you're either going to have to buy a facility that's already built, or you're going to have to build one from scratch and retrofit it, or build it from the ground up. And that's going to take a lot of cash. It's either going to be more dilution for their shareholders, or they're going to have to burn that cash that they have, right? That's huge capital expenditures as well. So these MSOs, once they expand to the rest of the US and then the rest of the world, they're going to be in the same predicament, right? They're going to go through the same thing. The only difference is that they're starting with a little bit more slower approach in their own backyard, but we just don't know yet. They're not even operating under a legal framework. So a lot remains to be seen. But one thing I know for sure is that Hexo and Tilray are the best positioned in a global scale to be number 1 and number 2 potentially, right? Top 5 for sure globally. But they're not just building, like there's some LPs, like look at Canara Biotech. They haven't even got nationwide distribution in Canada yet. Hexo and Tilray have nationwide distribution, coast to coast in Canada. They're number 1 and number 2 in terms of market share in Canada. They're number 1 in Germany. And they've got operations in the US and they're ready to go as soon as the US legalizes. The foundation is there. It's built. There's no more. Hexo has no debt. It's been refinanced with Tilray. They've got a $282 million in cash that they have access to. All sales are now profitable. The SG&A and the COGS from all the layoffs and the facility overlap and closures that they had because of all these acquisitions, they didn't need all these facilities, right? And not to mention the synergies, the $80 million in synergies that they're going to save, maybe even more, right? I got a couple points left and then we'll get into the chat here. Also, Hexo going bankrupt is terrible for the industry. Erwin Simon, the CEO of Tilray, even said that himself. That is not good in any industry. It would, just like it wasn't good for Apple going bankrupt to Microsoft, It's not good in any industry, right? That would have looked really bad. But in our industry, in MJ, it's not just the LP's fault. It's also the government in Canada. We got so many rules and regulations, and there's so many things holding this industry back that why do you think Tilray lent them a lifeline? Because Tilray even said, Hexo's a great company. They have a lot of great assets and a lot of great brands. But the Canadian government is essentially just kicking us into a hole that we might not be able to get out of, right? And now they're going through the review of the MJ Act here in Canada, right? So all this stuff is happening. It's a Schedule I drug in the US still, right? And Apple and Microsoft, they weren't selling illegal drugs. And yeah, it's not good for anybody. Bankruptcy in any new emerging burgeoning industry, especially when it's a leader like Hexo, it was number one for the longest time in terms of market share. Tilray just passed them in the latest Hifyre data. But not only that, it'll look really bad on Tilray, right? Like they have their collateral, they're just a debt holder. So if Hexo ever went bankrupt, the shareholders are the last to get the money back, right? And quite frankly, they usually get shafted. But what happens is the creditors, the banks and the creditors and all that stuff get bailed out first. So realistically, Tilray wouldn't really lose a whole lot. We were talking about this, Sean and I in the Power Group private community, shout out to Sean. But exactly what I said is Hexo would just auction off its assets like they're doing with Zenabis and Sundial potentially buying the stalking horse bid, SNDL, and they would just pay off that debt, right? As much as they could. Same with if Hexo ever did go bankrupt, Tilray would get its money back through the sale of the assets and the brands and all the liquidation of those of Hexo's assets, right? And then Hexo would pay back Tilray first, and then any other creditors, and then the shareholders are the ones left holding the bag. Unfortunately, if that were to happen, but I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think they're going to merge either. I think it's going to be very similar to the Apple Microsoft situation. I think they're going to both remain two public independent companies. And they're both going to move on to shape this industry together. They're going to be number one and number two working together. And I could even see Hexo being worth more market cap wise in terms of the long-term outlook here in the next 10 to 20 years. And again, wouldn't be good for Tilray investors because not from a financial standpoint, Tilray is pretty protected either way. If Hexo goes up in value, they're the biggest shareholder in Hexo, so they're going to make a ton of money, just like Apple and Microsoft. But if Hexo were to go under, that's what Tilray, Erwin Simon, the CEO, said is they have a lot of great assets and we're not worried because they're worth a lot of money. And we tried to buy Redecan basically for 1.4 billion, and they went with Hexo for 925 million. They're protected either way, but it still wouldn't look very good on Tilray's part, right? Like if Hexo went under, it's like, and imagine if Hexo went under in a quarter, like Daniel's saying they're potentially going to do, or within the next 1 to 2 years. Imagine if that happened. Everybody in Tilray would be like, investors would be like, what the hell, management? You told us this was the best partner that you could have picked long-term in Canada. And now they're going bankrupt a quarter later or a year later or 2 years later. Like that would just look really bad. No matter how you spend it, even if they get the money back, but it was like, what a waste of time, right? Why all that for nothing? And like, that's just not realistic. And then, like I said, Hexo even says here, new debt financing arrangement will accelerate Hexo's transformation into a cash flow positive business in the next 4 quarters. And again, in his video, he says that they're nowhere near becoming cash flow positive. And even Charlie Bowman said it himself in a recent interview, every sale is now profitable. Are we going to see massive results on the next financials? Probably not. The next ER, probably not. But there's another one in December. There's one, it's next week, I believe, the 28th. It's tentative for next week, next Friday. We'll want to see official confirmation from Hexo management, like always. But it should be next week. It's due by October 31st, and October 31st is a Monday, and it's Halloween. So I would say that it's most likely going to come out on Friday the 28th next week. And then we have another one in December. What I'm looking forward to is the one in December and the first quarter into 2023, because that is going to give us we also could see the sector start to reverse. We could see the lame duck session. We could see safe banking pass. We could see uplisting to the NYSE and the NASDAQ, at which the whole sector would reverse. And then those improvements on that earnings report, the improvements to SG&A and COGS are really going to shine through. And then couple that with the bullish momentum from the turnaround and the new bull market starting, in my opinion, Also, we know that the CPG partner is on hold. I emailed Hexo Investor Relations, and they said that the non-core projects are on hold. So when I asked about the CPG partner, they said on hold. Might they be waiting for the sector to turn around? If I were a market maker, and that's what I said at the beginning of this show, was I don't know everything. I'm not, an income statement. I'm not a balance sheet guy. I know the basics, but I'm a technical guy. I'm a visionary. I can, I said Tesla. I said Tesla was a buy, screaming buy. I was telling everybody 2-3 years ago from the rooftops, buy Tesla when it was under $200 post both splits. There was 2 stock splits. I told people under $200 before the last 2 stock splits, right? And all the financial gurus and Wall Street was saying, Tesla doesn't make any money. They make less cars in a year than Toyota makes in a month, right? But I know the game they play. I've been around long enough to know. I've been studying this market for 15 years, and I know the games they play. And they're Wall Street crooks. It's a manipulated game, right? And I know beyond a shadow of a doubt, I've done tens of thousands of hours of research. Just like I knew Tesla was going to be successful. Just like I knew Bitcoin. Just like I knew crypto. Just like XRP. All the XRP haters. Oh, it's a centralized coin and blah, blah, blah. It doesn't do anything. Well, did you do research? Because if you did, you would realize that you're wrong. And then you give them the facts. And so I've been through this with XRP. Now I'm going through it with Hexo, right? And it's just unfortunate, but it is what it is. And I'm going to be here forever. So long as I'm alive, I'm going to be on this platform making videos, and I'll be calling out anybody, not just Daniel, not just any XRP hater, Hexo hater. I'll be telling people the truth until the day I die. And if I'm proven wrong, I'll be the first to admit it. I'll make the video saying I was wrong, and then I'll tell you the truth, right? That newfound truth, because the truth will set us free. Oof, this is going to get juicy. Yeah. Hopefully not too juicy. I tried to stay calm, collected, cool as a cucumber. This is not the first dude that comes out and talks nonsense on Hexo. All he's trying to do is pump his American MJ stocks that he owns and try to make Hexo look bad. Yeah, he even did say that the only stocks he owns is Trulieve and Green Thumb. Any news come out yet? No, not yet. Hey, from Georgia. Welcome, welcome. St. Louis, nice, welcome. My brother's favorite hockey team. Cheers, David. New York, welcome, welcome. Kind of figured from your handle. Oh, wow, didn't even know there was any drama. I have watched him, not that impressed. He doesn't have the passion for cannabis as you do. Well, I appreciate that. Like I said, I think he's very knowledgeable. He knows what he's talking about with regards to certain subjects, but he's clearly wrong in the facts here. Could not be any more wrong. You're so professional. Stay humble. Keep doing the real due diligence and putting it out there. I appreciate how authentic you are. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Keeping it real, too. What a great fitting handle that is. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Whoops, that's my comment. Yeah, it's good. Perfect. Sounds great. Texas, nice. Does she even know about the Tilray deal? I think you mean he. Yep, exactly. So I mentioned he didn't even mention it in. Oh, you corrected it after. Yeah, so he didn't even mention it. And what about Molson? Didn't mention that either. Some people need to hear they're an idiot, though. Yeah, I just think there's a more civil and professional way of saying it versus using the actual word. But yeah, you might not be wrong. Or you might be right. So yeah. Again, when people think when you challenge their idea that you're calling them out, that you're insulting them. Just because I don't agree or I'm calling you out on the facts doesn't mean I don't like you or I'm insulting you, right? But some people can't take it, and it is what it is. We're all at different levels of. Anyway, I'm just going to leave it at that. I watched this video. The numbers are scary, no doubt. But as you mentioned, all LPs are in similar boats, and it's likely that the U.S. opens federally. MSOs will take on huge debt in acquisition. Exactly. So they're going to have all these capital expenditures eventually as well. And they're going to have to start acquiring other companies to get into different states that are no longer issuing license. That's going to be stock dilution or dipping into their cash reserves or taking on debt from lenders, right? The numbers are bad. They're not good. But again, didn't mention the fact that Hexo bought Redecan for $925 million. So the majority of that debt and dilution was from that one deal. So again, folks, if you didn't know Hexo wasn't going to have any issues after that deal, how can Hexo, like, all it would have taken is looking at Hexo's cash that they had on hand at the announcement of that deal. Did they have $925 million in cash? No. Okay. So they don't even have $400 million in cash, which they need, and the rest is going to be in stock. How are they going to get that $400 million? They're probably going to have to get it from a lender. So again, like, the more you realize this, of course there was going to be debt. Of course there was going to be dilution. They had to come up with $1 billion, right? And then people just didn't understand this until months and even a year later. It's like, oh, I can't believe the dilution and the debt that they took on. Well, $925 million, right? What are they supposed to do? Just pull it out of their ass? You know, like, excuse my French, but I mean, come on. Like, it's time to wake up. But yeah, I mean, numbers weren't great, but that deal alone, plus they paid what, 225 million, I think it was, for Zenobus. So that's over $1 billion plus 50 million for 48 North, right? And like I said, they have facilities in Colorado. They have nationwide distribution in Canada. They now have partnered with Tilray, and they're going to both dominate Europe and specifically Germany. So they have the foundation built already, ready to go for global scale and rollout, right? Just a bunch of misinformation that he is throwing out there. All we all know Hexo and Tilray partners for a reason. Yeah, exactly. Why would they even bother if they thought Hexo wasn't worth it? I think we should thank him for his ignorance. Picked up a bunch of cheap shares this week, sorry. Agree at New York teacher, same here. Boom, Hexo the Apple and Tilray the Microsoft. I like that. I really do think that's what we're going to see. I was underhanded that he did not note that these numbers are 6 months old and do not represent all the consolidation the company has focused on as of late. He did not mention Tilray. Exactly. And again, a quick Google search I just showed you earlier on the stream. Took me 5 seconds. Hexo debt update. Bam. Tilray buys Hexo's debt. No debt. Gone. Problem solved. Right now I have access to 282 million and 102 million of which is unrestricted. I bought more shares in the aftermarket. Thanks, Dan Stonk. It is just a matter of weeks before Hexo earnings stomp these rumors. I think they've kept quiet intentionally. I think MJ investors will be shocked with the growth. Yeah, exactly. I'm not holding my breath for this next earnings next week here at the end of October, but I'm more interested in the one in December and then the one into what is it, February or March? Might be April. I'd have to check again. But the first one in 2023. No one is watching him for MJ advice. I search YouTube diligently for your channel. No serious sector investor is listening to him. He is a FUD influencer. Yeah, I guess everybody's entitled to their own opinion. Like I said, I think he does good work, but there's just some things that he clearly didn't research enough. But now it's beyond research because I commented on his video. He deleted my comment, so he had to have read it. And not only that, I did a video correcting him, and he went on there, and I showed you the comments where I did a video previously saying YouTuber with 200,000 subscribers bashes Hexo stock without all the facts. And then we give him the facts in that video. And then he came on and commented, and a bunch of other people spit the facts at him as well. And then he did another video yesterday and still didn't mention any of it. So again, he's been given the facts. There's no way he doesn't know with 200,000 subscribers and being a YouTuber and invested in MJ. There's no way he doesn't know. So that tells me he's either being ignorant, intellectually dishonest, or downright lying. Just ignorant and just the ignorance is I don't know. It's either through the roof or he's just downright lying intentionally. Either which, none of it's a good look. So if I were him, I'd be coming clean with this. And if you want to, in my opinion, again, I've only got 3,000 or 4,000 subscribers. My channel will grow as fast as it grows based on me telling the truth and nothing but the truth, right? I don't care about clicks and views or any of that. All I care about is helping each and every one of you and helping me and my family as well. So I will do that. However, I have to do that by telling the truth. I could care less about who doesn't like me, who doesn't like what I say. I tell you what you want, what you need to hear, not what you want to hear. I care about each and every single one of you, and that's why I'm doing this here on my evening, almost 7 o'clock. And I come on here to be honest, exactly what Skippy said. Rod, to be honest, I have never heard him until this live feed. Oh, I thought you said Rod's being honest. I had never heard of him until this live feed. Yeah, exactly. But he's, like I said, he's got over 200,000 subscribers. But you know, I'm literally speaking to you now, Daniel. If you're listening to this, whether you're in the live stream or you're listening after the fact, I can guarantee you your followers will appreciate you a lot more if you just go on and you make a video and you say, I was wrong. I'm human. I made a mistake. Correct it, set the record straight, and let's just move on. Let's put this to bed because it's just ridiculous. He also did not mention that Hexo paid Tilray an advisory fee in advance and primarily with MJ, not cash. That was great news mentioned in Tilray earnings. Yeah, exactly. He didn't mention anything about Tilray, let alone the details of Tilray deal. I think we are making him more famous right now. He is a waste of time. I'm going to laugh at him when Hexo skyrockets. Well, like I said, I think he's very knowledgeable. He's clearly deserved the following that he has. But I think he is doing a disservice to his following by not presenting all the facts. And at this point, he's been presented with the facts and he's withholding them. So intentionally. So that tells me that he's just downright lying or just purposely being ignorant for whatever reason. I don't know. But either way, it's not a good look. And I'm not really concerned about his fame. I'm looking at it from a Hexo perspective. Any publicity is good publicity. And the amount of people that texted me today and messaged me and said that, have you seen his video? Just imagine the eyeballs on Hexo now, right? Now I'm doing another video calling him out. Hexo going to explode straight up. Yep. Can't wait for earnings next week or the other. Yeah, exactly. So it should be next week. It's due before October 31st. But again, not too worried about these earnings. We know Tilray's wasn't that great last quarter, so it could potentially follow suit. And Tilray took #1 market share. We just found out as well from Hexo. So that could be, and the estimates, the analyst estimates, they're forecasting lower earnings. So don't hold your breath too much. Again, we can't look 1 quarter out. We can't even look 1 year out. This industry is so early. The US is still Schedule 1, the same category as heroin, right? And then after they deschedule it, it's going to be multiple years before they even like scratch the surface in the US, right? We're the tippy top of the iceberg, right? There's so much left to be uncovered. And, you know, we look at earnings next week, earnings next month, earnings next quarter or 2 quarters from now. The fact of the matter is, it's not really going to matter because if it is amazing and Hexo pumps and the whole sector is still bearish and SPY, the S&P 500 drops to 330s, like I think we're going to see another leg down. It's just going to pump and then dump. It's going to be short-lived. What we need is the whole sector to reverse, and what's going to take that, what's going to make that reversal happen, in my opinion, is going to be sector-wide catalyst. Give me 1 second here. Just 1 sec. Airbnb message real quick. Oh, duty calls. Wow. So yeah, just we got to be patient. It's a process. It doesn't happen overnight. And you know, if it's great earnings, I'll take it. But I'm not holding my breath. I'm more interested in December earnings and then the first earnings in 2023 because that's the most likely time where we could see the whole sector reverse. And then once the whole sector reverses and the US starts to uplist and we get all the safe banking news and uplisting, we get descheduling. After descheduling too, there's going to be a ton of companies probably enter the space, right? We know Jones Soda just entered with Mary Jones Soda. We know PepsiCo trialed Rockstar Hemp in Germany. Makes you wonder, I wonder why they were trialing into Germany and Germany's going to legalize. And then, so if Jones Soda gets in and Pepsi's already trialing and then they get in, how long before Coca-Cola gets in? Oh, also, Daniel, if you're listening, Molson Coors produces Topo Chico Hard Seltzer for Coca-Cola, and Molson Coors also produces Simply Spiked Lemonade for Coca-Cola. Molson Coors is partnered with Hexo Corp through the Trust JV, joint venture. Who do you think Coca-Cola is going to pick as its partner if it decides it does want to get in? Just saying. I was that guy buying 150 shares here and there at 16.7 cents after hours. You bet. FUD before earnings. Yep. Classic. Do you think it will reach $1 by January? Yeah, I really do. Because we should see lame duck. I think all MJ will skyrocket like multiple hundreds of percent But yeah, I really do think we will. Even if we don't, they already have approval to do a reverse split. So there's no issues. They're not going to get delisted. They'll just do the reverse split. They have until January 25th to regain compliance, but it's not going to matter. Last time Hexo did a reverse split, it went from $2 to $11. Tilray reports 9 mil from Hexo interest, ER 7.8 in MJ revenue, which is advanced payments on the advisory fee, and 1.2 million interest. They expect to earn 40 million the first 12 months of the agreement. Page 27. Yeah, exactly. Well, there's no point on talking about the details because he didn't even mention that there was a deal. So if he didn't even mention the deal, I highly doubt he's privy to the details of said deal. I think Hexo is going to pay off this debt much faster than anyone imagines. Yep. Hexo will skyrocket. Thanks, Rod, for telling the truth. You bet. Kisan, thanks for joining the stream. I'll keep telling the truth forever and always. When did Hexo say CPG was on hold? I emailed them probably like a month ago, something like that. There's also a couple other people that emailed them in the group as well. They said all non-core projects are on hold. FUD before earnings. Pronk gets his news from National Enquirer magazine. I'm not sure about that, but perhaps. Daniel better watch out for Tyson. That's a good point. Very good point. Never heard of the guy. You have the facts and tact. Yep. Intact or intact. I think you mean intact, but yeah, thank you. My average is so low that either it goes bankrupt or I get rich AF. There you go, right? You can fix stew. You can't fix. I think we know what that means. Can't, yeah. Can't fix stew. Oh, we got a bot in here. Let's ban them. There we go. Bye-bye. Can you explain how Trust will benefit from Hexo in the future? Thanks. Love your channel. Thank you very much. I appreciate it, Jeff. So yeah, Hexo is, Trust is the JV with Molson Coors. Hexo owns like 42% and 42.5%, and Molson Coors owns like 47.5%. So right now, because Hexo has the license in Canada and Trust doesn't, Hexo's reporting it on their financials, even though they only have minority ownership. But Trust just got its license. It's going to operationalize it in 2023, at which point, because Molson Coors owns the majority of that JV, it'll go on TAP financials, on Molson Coors financials. And then Hexo will report on a quarterly basis, and it'll just be money in the bank, right? They'll just collect their the 42% of the profits, right? And then they'll report on a line item on an equity basis in the on the financials. Colorado too. At one time, Hexo said that they were selling location because license was no longer in line with their production needs. They never sold the license, and now seems good. So things we don't know yet. Some things we don't know yet. Yep, absolutely. It's a crime to knowingly and willfully make any materially false statements on a business. Federal lying statute. Yeah, yeah. And again, the first time, benefit of the doubt, I totally was like, oh, maybe he just doesn't doubt. But now. Like what was it? This was back in May, right? So like many months, like 6 months, 5 or 6 months, and he still hasn't gotten the facts straight. I don't know. It has to be lying. It has to be. I can't see what else it would be. 3K subscribers, not 200K subscribers. No, he created another one. So he has his Daniel Pronk one. And then he created a stock unlock. So he has a new service that he's selling. So you can see here, Daniel Pronk, 204K subscribers. Right there. And then he created another one recently, stock unlock, and that's where he just bashed Hexo. That's why probably a lot of people didn't see it. But yeah, and then if you go down there, the stock, yeah, he's got 3.07K subscribers. So yeah, that's what's going on. So technically he has like 407,000 subscribers in his audience, right? Which is even worse. Sorry, yeah, 207,000. I think that's what I said. Maybe I said 400, but yeah, 207,000 essentially subscribers he has with this new stock unlock channel. Because if we go to stock unlock, he probably just created it not too long ago. Yeah, September 2nd, 2021. So he's still building that out. But yeah, he does have 204K plus the 3K, so 207K. Holding Hexo long term. Well, nice to see that people are unwavered and not buying into the FUD. Circle K deal with Green Thumb news was big today. CNBC talked about it a few times. Yep. Well, again, there's so much growth, folks. Like, wait until it's in all convenience stores. Wait until all the companies are selling in the US and abroad and Germany. And like, there's so much growth, folks. So much freaking growth. I'm still buying it. It's a little under 17. I think you're right. We need to stick with it and be patient. Yeah, you bet. I've got a buy order in for 15 cents. If it hits, great. If not, I've got my bags packed. I'm good either way. Hexo is selling their shareholders down the river. Well, no real different than a lot of MJ right now. It's been pretty rough for all MJ companies. And like I said, Canopy, I would argue Canopy has diluted more. And Hexo's been better stewards of capital. At least Hexo's number one, partnered with Tilray, number one and number two working together. And they've got a foothold on the Germany market. So, yeah, unfortunately, it is what it is, Matt. It's been rough, not just for Hexo, but even the companies that have good profitability, their stocks are down 70 to 80%, like the Green Thumbs and the True Leaves over the last year and a half. So it doesn't matter how you spin it. We will see more subscribers in our POW group when the bull run's coming. Good vibes. Yeah, you bet. Appreciate it. Yeah, 5 months ago. Sorry, I didn't have any respect to Lars. Yeah. Again, I wish that he would come on and set the record straight. I do think that his followers would appreciate him a lot more. And yeah, when you're given the facts and you say something that's not true, you're spreading misinformation, whether it's intentional or not. When someone corrects you, it's not because they don't like you or because they think you're an idiot or whatever. They're just saying, like, no, you said this, it's untrue. And now I'm giving you the facts and giving you the truth, and you're choosing not to listen. So bet 90% of his following are bots. Yeah, who knows? Who knows? All right, going to end it there. Thanks, everybody. Again, I really do appreciate all the support, the contribution, as always. And, this won't be the last time that someone bashes Hexo. This won't be the last time that I have to deal with it. I've dealt with it in cryptocurrencies. I've dealt with it on MJ stocks. And it won't be the last time that we have to deal with it, I'm sure. Probably from multiple other sources and people as well. Influencers. Thanks, you bet. Appreciate it. So yeah, at the end of the day, we're all human and we make mistakes. Hopefully he can find it and owe it to his subscribers to come on and find the courage to come on and just admit that he was wrong and set the record straight once and for all. But this is probably the last time I'm going to talk about this. I just had so many people messaging me about it today. So by popular request, I came on here and did this video today. I was going to do a video on that Circle K and Green Thumb, but this kind of took precedence based on the amount of people asking me about it. So yeah, it is what it is. Stay humble out there. Stay free. Stay seeking the truth forever and always. Don't be upset if you're wrong about something. Just admit you were wrong and move on, right? People are going to respect you and appreciate you a lot more because of that, right? So going to end it there. Thanks again for joining us on the Pursuit of Wealth. It's Rob with POW Group. Have a great night. See you on the next video.